Hey guys, welcome back. So like I promised in yesterday's video, we're going to be making a dish from the French Pavilion at World Showcase at Disney World, of course. So we're going to be making some macarons or macaroons. I think it's macarons. But we're going to be making the ice cream sandwich, which I'm really excited about. And then we're also going to be making a champagne cocktail to go with it. And it's going to have some Chambord, which is a raspberry liqueur. That's going to go really well with our strawberry macarons. I don't know if it's macarons or macaroons. Please don't judge. I'm going to say macarons because it sounds very French. But yeah, so I'm going to show you guys the ingredients. So we have some super fine almond flour, confectionery sugar. These are 3 egg whites that I already cracked as soon as I got home from work. They have to sit out at room temperature for about 30 minutes. So I did that immediately and it's been about 30 minutes. Some strawberry extract and some red food coloring. Our ice cream, we decided not to make ice cream today, mainly because I forgot to put the bowl for my ice cream maker in the freezer before I left work. But Haagen-Dazs is a delicious brand, so we're going to use that for the time being. We'll make ice cream another episode. And then some granulated sugar. And then for our cocktail, it's going to be some champagne and some Chambord. And we might add a little bit of sparkling water to it as well. We're going to need the KitchenAid with the whisk attachment for this. An ice cream scoop. We're going to have our measuring cups. And then we have to sift our flour. And then, because I didn't want you guys to judge, because I didn't have a champagne flute last episode, so I just bought, it's plastic, but it looks pretty fancy. Just for the sake of this blog. I don't know what I just said. So yeah, I'll measure everything out and I'll leave the ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is measure out our dry ingredients. So that's going to be our almond flour and our confectionery sugar. We're going to have to sift these to make sure there aren't any lumps because that's going to hurt the texture of the actual cookie. So we want to make sure that it's super fine. I know it says super fine almond flour on here, but you're going to see that there's going to be some clumps. So we're going to need 1 cup of almond flour and 1 3/4 cups of powdered sugar. So I'm going to measure those out. And this is why we want to sift, because look at all those chunks. So we're just going to try to smooth those out and get them through the sifter. Alright, so this little bit doesn't want to go through, so we're just going to discard that. So these are our dry ingredients. Next we're going to work on the eggs. Oh, we're also going to add a little bit of salt. Hold on. But we're going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Alright, so the next thing we're going to get our KitchenAid all set with our whisk attachment. You could also use a hand mixer with the whisk attachment. So we have our 3 egg whites. We're going to add these right into the bowl. And we're also going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt to help stabilize it. So we're going to let these get frothy before we add the granulated sugar. Alright, so these are nice and frothy. We can start adding our sugar in small increments. Right here we have a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. So I'm going to add about 1/3 of that right in here. And then we're going to put the mixer back on and we'll add the rest as it starts to whip. We're looking for stiff peaks, so I'll show you. Alright, so these are soft peaks. See how they kind of droop over like that? They're not quite ready yet, so we're going to get them to be where they stay completely on their own. So that'll probably be only about another 20 seconds. Alright, so we have our stiff peaks. See how they're staying on their own like that? And a trick, I'm not going to do it because I just don't really have time to do it, but you can take the bowl up and if you can hold it upside down without it falling, that means it's ready to go. So the next thing we're going to do is add our strawberry extract. So we've got our strawberry extract, we're just going to whip it up to incorporate it. The next thing we're going to do is add our red food coloring. We want these to be pink, so we're going to add 2 drops to start and we can always add more. So we'll go. Alright, so this is a nice light pink. It looks good. It's not really showing through on camera, but hopefully when we bake it you can see more, but that's a nice pale pink. I actually ended up adding 1 more drop of food coloring. I will say gel food coloring is better for this because this might fade a little bit, but that's alright. So yeah, we're gonna now add our dry ingredients into our wet ingredients. So we're gonna add this mixture a little bit at a time and we're gonna lightly fold it. And I'll show you once we get all the ingredients in, we're gonna try to create a figure 8. So we want like an 8 to stabilize on top of this. And that's going to be when we know that it's perfectly mixed. So I'll show you when we get there. So I'm just going to mix this up. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is an 8 right there. So it's sticking and staying. So we're going to bag this up and start piping. So we're going to do that same trick where we put the pastry bag in the glass to keep it stable. And then I have our silicone mat. Alright, so we have our bag nice and full. Next we're going to pipe this into rounds. They're going to be a little bit bigger than a traditional macaron because they are going to be an ice cream sandwich. So Alright, so we have these piped out. They're a little uneven, but that's okay. You could certainly draw a pattern underneath and like pipe around that, but you know, that's alright. It's just for me. So we're going to make sure we tap this on the, just tap the tray to get all the bubbles out. And that's a really important step. Make sure you do that. And then we're going to let these sit for about an hour to create a film over them, so when we touch them that it doesn't leave a mark. Alright, so you can see I can glide my finger across. These have a nice film. So we're going to put these in the oven. I already set the oven to 300 degrees. We're going to let them bake for 17 minutes. Alright, so these are out of the oven. They were in there for 17 minutes, and see they have these little, they're called feet. And that's basically like the egg whites rising. So those look really good. We're going to let these cool for about 15 minutes on this, and then we're going to transfer them to a rack. Alright, so we're going to transfer these over to our baking rack. Alright, while we're letting those finish cool, we're going to make our delicious champagne drink. So it's going to be the Chambord, this little guy right here. I just bought a small one because I didn't really need a whole bottle. So this is a raspberry liqueur. So there's a few cocktails in the French Pavilion that utilize champagne and then a different flavored liqueur. So there's some with a blackcurrant liqueur, but they didn't have that at my liquor store. So the Chambord is also used, and then Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur, which is my absolute favorite. But I figured to go with the theme of like the strawberry and the color of the macarons that we would do this one. So what we're gonna do is make our champagne cocktail. Oh, I'd also recommend bringing out your ice cream now so it can get a little bit soft, so it'll be easier to scoop, because these don't have the macarons don't have much longer to cool. So I made sure to actually get champagne and not Prosecco because this is the French episode. So we're going to open this up, and I'm going to try not to hit this in my eye. Alright, we're going to start out by adding some of our raspberry liqueur. Alright, that looks good. But that's probably about 2 ounces. So we have that, and now we're going to add our champagne, which I am going to do and then show you guys so I don't spill it everywhere. Alright, there we have our cocktail. It looks amazing. It's got that nice blush color from the raspberry liqueur. You could absolutely add a little bit of sparkling water to this if you wanted to dilute it a little bit, because it is just a liqueur with champagne. And you could add a little bit of a lemon wedge if you want, or a lemon part of like lemon peel to this as well. I'm not going to because I don't think it's necessary, because this is how the cocktail is done in the France Pavilion. So this is all set. We're going to add our ice cream to our delicious macarons, which are nice and cooled, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, we have our nice ice cream sandwiches. They're about to melt, so I can't really show you too much, but that's from our French episode today. The ice cream's still a little bit frozen, so they're kind of a weird shape, but yeah, that went really well. I'm pretty excited about that. So the next one we're going to do is the Canada Pavilion, and we're going to do the beer, cheese, and cheddar soup with homemade pretzels. I'm pretty excited about that one. But I'm going to go enjoy my delicious ice cream sandwiches and my champagne cocktail. Oh my god, these are so good. This might be one of the best things I've ever made. Oh my god. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys had fun watching this. I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to subscribe and have a good night.